Hi, I'm Dave Johnson, and I would like to talk about Clinoptilolite. This is a sample of this. It's a wondrous mineral. It's quite prominent. And if you go to pictures of Clinoptilolite, that's Clinoptilolite, you'll find just some gorgeous rock specimens, various colors. And you do a little research, you find that these brilliant colors are actually heavy metals. That's why heavy metals are in cosmetics, the pigment that creates different types of oil painting, colors in fireworks, all of that kind of stuff. These brilliant colors are heavy metals, and heavy metals are not healthy. Clinoptilolite has actually been used for centuries as an intestinal cleanser. It's also used because it's really attractive for purifying water, other industrial processes. But the cool thing is, although it loves heavy metals and is famously filthy with this sort of stuff, it is not very interested in the biological or the healthy minerals like zinc or magnesium, things like that. But it loves lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury, all of those sorts of things. So selectivity. The reason is the Clinoptilolite crystal, the shape and size, structure of it, the charge makes it love heavy metals. Heavy meaning that the neutrons and the protons suck what they call the van der Waals radius into tiny, and so those go deeply within the cage, where, say, magnesium example, is very loosely attracted and gets bumped off in favor of, say, something like mercury. So this is just an amazing product. Now, one of the things, when you look at all these pictures, you look and you'll find some places where a Clinoptilolite is in some pretty deep strata, and it's more kind of a tan or a beige. That means it's less filthy, but nevertheless it has things in it. Now, one of the things I think is really interesting is Rick Deitch, a biochemist. He's nutritional and pharmaceutical in developing drugs and nutritional products. During the 90s, he was working for Rexall, doing billions of dollars in product development for them, and being a gatekeeper into a huge, vast market. A lot of people came to him and says, hey, take this to this company. And one day, a couple of people came with a Clinoptilolite-based product. And if you, as an example, go on Amazon, you'll see all sorts of things. Essentially what it is powder, tablets, capsules of this stuff, and you take it. You'll see some wonderful testimonies of what it can do. And I myself worked with a company that had an intestinal cleanser in the 80s. And there's really something to that, but it depends on the liver and all this sort of stuff, and doing things through the limited organs of the intestinal system. Well, these guys came, and they had a paper where a couple of guys got the idea to administer Clinoptilolite through an IV to dogs with tumors, and the tumors disappeared. And this got Rick thinking, well, wow, how could I get this to circulate through the bloodstream without doing an IV? And he got thinking and looking and realizing that this Clinoptilolite, it's a crystal, it's tiny. And so if you could make these particles, the average particle size smaller than a micron, and then put it into a colloidal suspension, and then just put that in your mouth, then within minutes it would enter the bloodstream. So he created a technology where the particle size was consistently less than a micron. Also, the other challenge is, again, in nature, with the wind and the rain and everything moving things around, it naturally accumulates these bad minerals. And so, wow, if you had a totally clean sponge to clean your countertop in your kitchen versus one that's halfway dirty already, that's a big advantage. And so he developed this, and he coined the terms activation, which is 100% clean Clinoptilolite, and micronization, where the particle size is under 1 micron. And we put that into a colloidal suspension of purified water, and launched a company in about 2005. And this company marketed this product, and it went around the world, millions of bottles sold. Now, this brings up to an idea that Rick talked about. And this is if you kind of think in terms of the healthy cell concept, that if all of your cells were healthy, you could not be sick. Because if you look at the myriad of diseases Well, what they are is, in a way, they're describing cellular malfunction. So these different names are the dysfunctional cells of a particular body system or organ or something. But if all of those cells were functioning properly, there would be no dis-ease. And so think about this. All your cells are healthy. You couldn't be sick. How do you have healthy cells? Give them everything they need, but equally critical, don't give them what they don't need. We're discovering more and more just this inundation of heavy metals and other toxins that were introduced to us. Just being on Earth, breathing air, drinking water, touching things, eating food, it's loaded with all of these things. And so all of a sudden, what if you could make a healthy, clean body? As Rick says, that would fix itself. Well, this hits me really personally because 7 years ago, I got a call from my doctor. Now, this is something where about half of the population is getting that same sort of call. Specifically mine was they told me I had a time bomb in me in the form of some stuff growing in my prostate. They told me I was going to have to do some stuff that I did not want to do. And so I'm just looking, praying, searching for answers. I got reacquainted with a friend, Marcy Littlejohn, that I'd actually met 30 years before, but I found out that years before my challenge, she had the same challenge, more dire, more urgent, and she came across this product. Now, all through the manufacturing and distribution of this product over 20 years, on the bottle it says take 10 drops twice a day. Well, she got this idea and heard about the dog story, and she thought, well, what if I just had enough of this to just overwhelm it, that perhaps not only does it remove heavy metals, which is really good enough, that's wonderful, but if it had a direct effect on bad cells. And so she invented, her name is Marcy, she coined the Marcy dose, which is taking 10 drops every waking hour. Well, in a couple of months, she had a PET scan, everything was gone. Well, years later, I'm talking to her and I'm thinking I'm going to do the very same thing. And long story short, a little over 2 months later, I had a biopsy, infamous prostate biopsy, and I got a call from my doctor, and a couple of days later he says, I've got some great news, there's nothing there. So jubilation. At that point, I started sharing it with my friends. During that time, 7 years ago, there was no business opportunity, but you know, if you find something wonderful, whether you discover a new restaurant that's amazing and you're talking to your friends about a restaurant, well, you're going to share it. Even more so, what if you found a better way? Perhaps something that was all upside, no downside. I believe the best treatment, if we want to call it that, would be you come out of it better than when you went into it. And so the thing I love about this is, you know, I'm not a doctor. We don't prescribe, treat, heal, cure, anything like this. It's marketed as something that's been clinically proven. When you take it, it enters the bloodstream, going up and down everywhere, looking for all those bad metals and things. And urinary excretion increases of heavy metals. And over time, wow, a healthy, clean body fixes itself. And that's what we found. Now, what's really exciting is during those last 7 years, I've used it every day. I got rid of something, and I don't want it coming back, but it's been under 4 different labels. Rick Deitch did not want to have his own company. He just wanted to invent things and market it through other people that ran the business. But with the frustration of just making this reliable, just a little less than 3 years ago, they started their own company. So I'm helping them get the word out. And so what was originally a health crisis has turned into my encore career. I just couldn't have more fun than doing this right now. Obviously, the purpose of a business is to make a profit, but in Avini Health, which is our company, our purpose is to make a profit by doing good. And I've just never been in a business where I can have an opportunity to do more good, have more fun, and be at the beginning of something that I believe everybody needs. Nobody has it yet. We've got the best, and you can get it from us. Thank you.